Folks, it's me, Denny Carter from Rotoworld and NBC Sports, coming at you for our big mock draft countdown, going to the top of the hour here, 8 o'clock in the Eastern time zone, of course, the only legitimate time zone in this country or any other country. It's going to be a big mock draft PPR, 12 teams with some of the biggest names in the industry, including me, including Pat Daugherty, Kyle Dvorak, I already said Pat Daugherty, Matthew Berry, of course, Lawrence Jackson, Connor Rogers, and more. Check it out. We have folks from Rotoworld. We have folks from Fantasy Life. So check that out at the top of the hour on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. For now, what we're going to do is you're going to send me your questions, and I am going to give you some answers. Will they be good answers? We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to try. And you know, if you missed it, me and Pat Daugherty did a Q&A earlier today. This is my 13th Q&A of the day, believe it or not. I haven't eaten. I haven't had anything to drink. I might pass out at any moment. But we're going to keep the Q's and the A's going. I'm kidding. This is my second one. And I have been allowed to eat. So that's been nice. I had a nice chunky peanut butter sandwich, which I know some of you are just morally opposed to for some reason, but I enjoy my chunky peanut butter. It sounds gross, I will say. When I say the words chunky peanut butter, it sounds disgusting. It's better. It tastes better than it sounds. That's what I would say. All right, folks, get in your questions. We do have first question here, and I think it is a very apt question for the day. Because, of course, Matthew Berry unveiled his ride or die player for 2024 today on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour, which, of course, you can check out on YouTube. You can also check it out on Peacock, which is the only app you need, really, if you think about it. If you just stop to think about it, yes, Peacock's the only one you need. It's actually easy. It's analytics is what it is. Anyway, he unveiled his ride or die. And Matthew Berry's ride or die is Kyler Murray. I thought it was going to be Jaden Daniels, but he went with Kyler, and I think it makes sense for these reasons. And Matthew published his always excellent 100 facts you need to know headed into the NFL season, and the piece kicks off with Kyler Murray. So we should have known Kyler was in the running for the ride or die. And here's some facts that Matthew lets us in on. It kind of sheds some light on, I think, the upside of Kyler Murray. I should get to the question, which is JD asking, in a keeper league, should JD keep CJ Stroud for an 11th or use a 14th round pick on Kyler Murray? I mean, you can't go terribly wrong, right, with this. Like, if you use an 11th rounder on CJ Stroud, that's good stuff. You'll be fine. I might lean Kyler, and let me just read you some of the facts from Matthew's column, which you could find, of course, on NBCSports.com. From week 10 to 18 last year, the Cardinals' best receiver, Marquise Brown, played only 3 full games, and he was in and out of a bunch of others. So really, like, Kyler wasn't throwing to anyone except for Trey McBride. From in that week 10 to 18 span, Kyler scored at least 17 points in 6 of his 8 games, finished as a top 10 fantasy quarterback on a points per game basis for the 4th straight season. Since Kyler entered the NFL, he's averaged 241 passing yards per game. He's averaged 38 rushing yards per game over a 17-game season that averages out to almost 4,100 passing yards and almost 700 rushing yards. Dwayne McFarland, a great analyst for Fantasy Life, figured it out, and he says that quarterbacks who have at least 3,800 passing yards and 550 rushing yards average 23.5 fantasy points per game. That comes in as a top 2 quarterback per Dwayne. What I'm saying is that I've made a huge mistake in not drafting a lot of Kyler Murray this offseason. I do think that 1 year removed from the knee injury is a big difference. I think we all just got, I don't know, really spoiled by some guys, especially like an Adrian Peterson type, like coming back from a horrifying, catastrophic knee injury and immediately being great. And sometimes it takes longer. Like Javonte Williams wasn't the same last year. He's looking, I think, more spry this summer. And that makes sense. He's another year removed from a really, really serious knee injury he suffered 2 seasons ago. Kyler now is, like I said, another year removed. If we can get 40, 50 rushing yards out of Kyler per game, we're cooking. We're cooking with oil. That's my long way of saying I would keep Kyler with the 14th. You can't go terribly wrong, though. Joey Ratz says, Denny, are you going to count the whole time? And will it be distracting if we are asking football questions? Should we just count along? That was actually my idea for the countdown, was just sitting here and going, it's 7:35 now. It's 7:36. It's 7:44. They said no. The NBC brass said that's not compelling. I disagreed, but whatever. We're going to talk. No, I won't be counting, Joey Ratz. We have Chad in the chat. Since we never get to talk about kickers being traded, what are your thoughts on Cade York landing in Washington? Is he good? Is that good for him? Is he draftable? He'll probably be a streamer. Cade York has had his ups and downs as a pro. We'll wait on that. We will wait on that. But thank you for the kicker question. Always fun to have a kicker question. Jamie says, who should I take at the second pick? I mean, look, you can take anybody but CMC because he's not going to be there. Half PPR, 12 team. I would go with Tyreek Hill. There's also a guy named Justin Jefferson. He's good. Breece Hall, excellent player. Those are all options for you. Let's see. Chad's back. Can you confirm you can see this? Yeah, I can see the YouTube questions. We had some technical difficulties earlier. Thank you. Thank you, Chad, for checking on that. I appreciate it. Our own external IT guy over here. Thank you, Chad. We have a question. Chris Olave or Drake London, full PPR. It's close. I would go London. London is going to see so many more what we in the industry call catchable targets. Those are passes that are not bad. And that's something that Kyle Pitts and Drake London have not seen much of over the past couple seasons, with various Atlanta quarterbacks stepping in to play horrifically. I think Kirk Cousins or Michael Penix, whoever's under center for Atlanta, who knows? I think both of them should provide a huge boost for these guys. And Drake London, the metrics, the open score, the nerdy stuff suggests a potentially elite guy. So and Olave, it's a little more questionable in that regard. I don't hate Olave for fantasy purposes, but London would be my pick. How early should quarterbacks be drafted when it's 6 points per passing touchdown? Look, here's what I would say about that. My buddy, longtime buddy, JJ Zacharyson, has done a lot of work, basically showing. I'm gonna give you the too long didn't read version, showing that there's very little difference in how we should approach quarterbacks when we're talking about 6 point touchdown passes versus 4 point. They get a little boost as far as where you should take them. But there's no reason to reach for a quarterback, especially if you're talking about one quarterback. Let your league mates reach in those circumstances. Iceman's in the chat. Hello, Iceman. Hope you're cool. Why are you so high on Malik Neighbors when he's in a bad offense and you hate Daniel Jones? It's a good question. That's a good question. I'd rather not answer it, actually. Andy Behrens from Yahoo. I've never seen Andy mad before. I've known Andy for many years. We've met in person several times. Unbelievably nice guy. And it still is, despite what happened today. I did a draft with him, And let's put it this way. He doesn't like Malik Neighbors, and he actually was just repulsed, furious, angrily, almost shaking, like that sort of anger that I took Neighbors. Or actually, no, Pat Doherty took Neighbors. We were building the perfect team on the Rotoworld Football Show. We were taking turns making draft picks. Pat went correctly, in my estimation, with Neighbors as our wide receiver 2, I believe. And Andy was furious. And I was almost like scared. I was like, oh my God, like what have we done? Like, we made the nicest guy in the industry. We made him so mad. What have we done? And Kyle too. Me, Pat, and Kyle infuriated him. Anyway, look, Malik Neighbors, I think, is just really custom made for the modern NFL, which is predicated on getting the ball in the short areas of the field to super fast guys who can make big plays after the catch. Okay, you think of Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle to an extent. I'm trying to think of some other. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are able to do that, although Kupp is primarily used in that way. You know, I think Neighbors is really good in that sort of game, right? In the modern NFL. I think he's gonna play a lot in the slot. I think that they're going to force feed him targets. I know that Daniel Jones is bad, but that's the thing about highly drafted receivers is very rarely do they get to play with a good quarterback. So I think you just have to accept that for what it is. Now, if you're in a savvy league, you're going to have to reach for Neighbors. But because he's a rookie, if you're in more of a what we call a normie league, casual league, a league of well-adjusted humans, then you could probably get him, depending on how you play it, as your wide receiver 3 or even your wide receiver 4. I mean, you look at his ADP right now, and you have Neighbors going as the wide receiver 24. That's right around Zay Flowers, Amari Cooper, George Pickens, DJ Moore. I would take Neighbors over all those guys. It gets a little dicey when you're talking about Neighbors over Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. That's tougher for me. I really like Devontae Smith this year. And I am taking DK Metcalf over Neighbors just for what that's worth. So I know it's a little bit hard to explain, but it doesn't bother me too much that Neighbors is going to not see a ton of high quality targets, because I think I said on the Rotoworld Football Show the other day, and I guess it's the hottest take ever. I think it's in the range of outcomes that Neighbors leads the NFL in targets this year. So you're going to want that. Am I right? Ian says, first time tuning in this year, excited for more great analysis. I hope you find it. Oh, you're suggesting here. Thank you for joining, and thank you for the nice words. Paul says, good evening. Cheers from Austria. Wow. Okay. I don't know. What time is it in Austria? You need to go to bed, Paul. If I like Caleb Williams and no, I won't get him the next round, would you draft Caleb over Burrow, Stroud, and Prescott? I mean, the thing is, like, Caleb's going like significantly after those guys. We got this question today on the noon Q&A. Are you taking Caleb over Dak and Jordan Love? I don't know, because they're like 25, 30 picks apart. I am high on Caleb Williams. I think the Bears will be kind of shockingly pass heavy this year. And I think that Caleb has some rushing juice that he showed in the preseason. I think certainly Caleb could outscore Burrow, because Burrow provides nothing on the ground, and Stroud. I said it. That's right. Because Stroud and Burrow, they're pocket passers that give you 0 on the ground. And then Prescott has volume on his side, but I'm afraid of that Dallas offense right now. I just feel like it's kind of in disarray, and I'm afraid to go all in on the Cowboys. Excuse me. All right, Paul. Paul says, I know you. I know you like Jordan Love, so I guess that's too far. I mean, yeah, but I don't think Caleb over Love is too crazy, honestly. Jordan Love is like a prime regression candidate, like the bad kind. He ran really hot on with the type of stats that are inherently high variance and often come back to earth after a hot run like he had. I'm talking about downfield shots. I'm talking about touchdowns. So if those regress a little bit, I could see Jordan Love being a little bit disappointing. Not horribly disappointing, but a little bit disappointing for folks who draft him as their QB1. Let's see. We have Super Shaq. Hello, Shaq. Picking first in a 10-team super flex. So should I take Josh Allen? That's the question. I actually really think, and you can check this out seriously on the NFL and NBC YouTube page. We have like, I don't know, like 6 mock drafts, like 6 or 7 different mock drafts, different formats. We have a super flex mock draft where you can see how we approach it. And we kind of came to the conclusion during that draft that if you have the number 1 overall pick, taking CMC or taking Tyreek or Justin Jefferson, whatever your preference is, it can very much work because at the 2-3 turn, you can still get 2 really viable, very good, high upside quarterbacks. So I think you need to keep that in mind. If you take Josh Allen, you'll be fine. But I think that there are avenues that you can consider there. I'm sorry, that's a little bit squishy, but whatever. So DM Sports got the discount code today. My discount code for Fantasy Life Plus and the Rotoworld Draft Magazine, which you can check out on our site. My promo code is 0RB. I don't know why they did that. Look, I've never even heard of 0RB before today. And they said your discount code is 0. I said, okay, fine, whatever. Never heard of it. Sorry. I'm kidding. Of course, it's the only way to draft a team. Sort of, kind of. I wrote about it on the Rotoworld site if you want to check it out. Okay. All right, guys. Well, first of all, before I get to this this Malik Neighbors question number 2, just wanted to reset here and mention that at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock Eastern time, we have the big Rotoworld mock draft that you can check out. We're going to post it on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. It's going to be on the NFL and NBC YouTube page. You will not be able to escape it. Okay. So remember to check that out when I wrap up here in about 12 minutes. So T Cash says, how early is too early from Malik Neighbors in a league with Giants fans? Yeah, look, a Giants fan might actually take Neighbors at like the 1-2 turn, and that's a little rich for my blood. I'm very bullish, obviously, but not that bullish. So be careful with that. I do think the end of the third round is very reasonable for him. Another Malik Neighbors question: why are you so high on Malik Neighbors when he's on a bad offense? I just did that. Sorry, my bad. Who is your ride or die? My ride or die is Taysom Hill. And I'll tell you why. He now on the Yahoo platform has tight end eligibility. Yahoo did the right thing. Yahoo is on the right side of history. They made Taysom a tight end. So he becomes very interesting. On a more serious note, I do think that if you're going to punt the position of tight end, if you miss out on the elite guys and you don't want to, sort of take a middle of the road tight end in the middle rounds, then just forget it and just wait and take Taysom. Taysom sees so many high value touches in this offense. And by the way, don't question it. Don't say, well, why? Why does he see? He shouldn't be seeing high value touches. It makes no sense. He's not even good. Why does Dennis Allen do this? Why do the Saints love Taysom Hill? Just accept it. Just stop. Honestly, stop whining. Stop whining. And just get Taysom Hill and enjoy his fantasy production. It's that simple. Ours is a game. It is a game. And Taysom Hill is a cheat code because he's getting direct snaps at the goal line and he's functioning as the goal line back in the preseason. I'm not making this up. This happened in the last Saints preseason game. And people are not drafting him in fantasy. Is Dallas Goedert getting goal line touches? Is he being allowed to dive into the end zone from the 1-inch line? He's not. You know who is? Taysom Hill. So Taysom Hill's my ride or die. I'm going to die. All right. Let's see. Are you going to name your next dog Olamide or Darnell Mooney after they outscored Devontae Smith and Kyle Pitts? I don't. That's a reach. That's a reach. Let's see. Joey Ratz is back. Am I nuts to think the Commanders will trade for Ayuk after today? No, I don't think that's happening. I don't think so. I mean, like replacing Jahan Dotson with Ayuk, like they that's the move they had to make. Like Dotson wasn't even going to make the team if Ayuk was traded. If Ayuk was traded to Washington. So, all right. Let's see. Coach Brian Robinson was RB9 when he went down in week 11. The entire offense got a boost. Why is he RB30? Well, he's RB30 because Austin Eckler. You know, and I know like Antonio Gibson was there in the Commanders' backfield last year, so it's kind of similar. But yeah, I think Austin Eckler could be something of an issue for him. I mean, I wrote him up in my column on boring running backs. I wrote up Robinson, and I think that he could be really useful. I'm not going to say league winner by any means, because I generally don't like to target running backs attached to hypermobile quarterbacks, because the mobile quarterbacks don't check down. They just keep it for themselves and run into the end zone, inside the green zone, inside the 10-yard line. So that that really undercuts the sort of upside that you might think Brian Robinson could have. But if you start the draft heavy receiver and you're looking for an RB2 in that part of the draft, Robinson makes a lot of sense. All right, folks, we have 8 minutes left. I'm going to get to as many as I can. Do you think Justin Jefferson's going to get a massive load of targets? Yeah, I mean, he could have 200 targets in this Minnesota offense. This Vikings team is going to be real bad, folks, real bad. And I don't think I'm breaking news here, but they're going to be bad, and Jefferson's going to be frustrated, and he's going to be very regretful about being in Minnesota for the foreseeable future, but that doesn't matter for our purposes. He's going to be just absolutely peppered with targets. Jordan Addison might face a suspension at some point. TJ Hawkinson is still recovering from his knee injury last year. So I think, yes, I that's why I think you can take Justin Jefferson overall. Number one overall. That's what I get for trying to talk and read at the same time. Peter, thank you for the nice words. 10-team PPR. Would you keep, I guess, Rashee Rice or Tank Dell in the 9th? Also keeping Laporte in the 10th. Laporte in the 10th is pretty sweet, Peter. I would take Rice. Because Dell is looking rotational. And we don't like that, folks. We don't like that. Shane Lee, 12-team half PPR. He has the 3rd pick. If I take Brees with the 3rd, what's a better value in the? Okay, so basically, take running back or receiver. So with the 3rd pick, I think Brees Hall is a fine pick. He's going to see a lot of pass game work. People say, "Oh no, Aaron Rodgers doesn't check down to running backs." Traditionally true. We haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play in 2 years, and we've never really seen him play in this offense. We spoke with a Jets beat writer who said that is part of the essential part of the pass game is getting the ball to Brees Hall. So that's important. So yeah, Brees and then hammer wide receiver. That's what I would say. Brett Mason, my guy, the one of the best reply guys on planet Earth. What's the greater crime, listening to Boys of Summer post Labor Day or auto drafting? We must not listen to Boys of Summer after Labor Day. You have, I don't know, what do we have? We have like a week left before you have to stop listening to Boys of Summer. Boys of Summer is an August song, folks. It's an August song. It's the end of summer. Okay, I got to stop listening to it after that. That's the law. I didn't make the law. I'm only enforcing it. But also auto drafting is bad as well. Mr. Showtime in the chat. How does the Dotson trade hurt Jaden Daniels' value? It doesn't hurt at all. He's there. It makes no difference. Jaden Daniels is a slam dunk pick for folks who don't get like the Josh Allen Jalen Hurts type. In fact, I think the presence of Jaden Daniels in, much later in the draft makes Anthony Richardson a bad pick. Nothing against Anthony Richardson. He's a fine young man, and he could be really good for fantasy. But he's going 6-7 rounds before Daniels, and Daniels has every chance to outscore him. So I'm not even looking at Anthony Richardson at that ADP. I'm taking Daniels and moving on. Daniels has crazy rushing upside. Iceman wants to know about insurance backs. Braylon Allen for the Jets is really good option there. Ray Davis for the Bills. You have just going through some teams here in my head. Zach Charbonnet for Seattle. Jordan Mason has emerged as the RB2 in San Francisco. CMC is unlike the rest of us. CMC is getting older, and he's already dinged up. Maybe Jordan Mason gets a start or 2 or 10. I'm not putting it out. I'm just saying, look, I'm not trying to put that in the universe. I'm just Jordan Mason would be a league winner in that situation. Real quick, we have 4 minutes, but I just have to share something about the Shanahan system and how effective it is. Last year, the 49ers rush EPA, which is always crazy low compared to a team's pass EPA. But the San Francisco rush EPA was higher than 15 NFL teams' pass EPA. They were more efficient running the ball than half the league was throwing the ball. That, to me, is mind-blowing. And it shouldn't come as a surprise, since the Shanahans they've been doing that. They've been doing that for 40 plus years now, and no one can seem to stop it. Can you post the final draft board of the Superflex? I guess I can. I'll try to figure that out, buddy. All right. Let's see. Hollywood versus Jameson and Cup versus Debo. Man, if Ayuk left San Francisco, then Debo would be a slam dunk. I'd lean Cup. I guess I'd lean Cup. You just got to ignore the injury history at this point. And I would go Jameson Williams. We had a Detroit beat writer, Ben Raven, really good a beat writer for the Lions. He said, look, it's happening. It is happening. There is no question that Jameson Williams is going to be a central part of this Lions offense. It's just a matter to what extent is it happening. I think Williams is not, there's every indication that he's not going to just be this downfield, like 80-yard touchdown merchant. Okay. Which is cool. And he still by the way, he still has that in his game. Okay. That hasn't changed, but you add that to maybe some rushing attempts. He had a couple rushing attempts in the playoffs, one of which went for a touchdown against the Niners, I believe, in the NFC title game. And maybe you get some bubble screens, some short area stuff where again, the whole goal of NFL offense these days, okay, I sound like an old man, but the whole goal is to have a quarterback who can simply read the defense, get the ball to the fast guy in space, and hope that the fast guy can make a play. And that can work. That can work really well, okay? And I think we're going to see that with Xavier Worthy, and I think we're going to see that with Jameson Williams. So for me, it's Jameson Williams by a mile over Hollywood Brown. All right, folks, we have less than 2 minutes. I'm gonna really try to get to your questions here. How high do you generally reach for players? Like how many tiers picks in the early rounds versus late? That's hard to answer, Paul. I'm sorry. You got to feel it. You got to, like on Caddyshack, you got to be the ball. Okay. You got to be the draft. Okay. You just got to be, you got to merge your brain with the draft brain, the overall draft consciousness. And then you'll understand and you'll know what to do. I believe in your potential. All right. Let's do a couple more. How's my team? I'm not going to go through all those, but looks good to me. Craig in the chat. 12 team half PPR. Third pick, do you take Tyreek? I'm taking Tyreek, yes. Round 2 or 3, you're targeting Nico, Achane. Look, if you like upside, you're taking Achane. I have been converted to the Achane way of life by Kyle Dvorchak and Pat Daugherty. If it doesn't work, I will blame them. I will bring legal action against them. I think that's fair. and that's what we discussed. But I get it. I get it now. I see it. I see the light with Devon Achane. I would go with Achane there. So I guess I'm in on the Dolphins, folks. Listen, we're going to stop here. I'm sorry I couldn't get to everybody's question. I'm going to be doing a live stream every week during the regular season on the NFL and NBC YouTube channel. So subscribe to that. Follow me on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter, at CDCarter13. And check out the mock draft, the PPR mock draft, featuring all the Rotoworld guys. We have Fantasy Life folks. We have Matthew Berry, everybody. So check that out. Until next time, I will talk to you.